First of all, before I get to this review, let me give a shout out to this web page. I was going to upload all these scans of the card game myself, and I didn't look forward to that task, but thanks to this web page, I didn't have to do that. Thanks, web page. Now, what you're looking at is rock, paper, scissors, and that is the central point of this card game, Sailor Moon. The Sailor Moon trading card game came out just when Sailor Moon had made a comeback. It had kind of peaked in the early second season and had made a strong comeback with the supers. And even though Deke was horribly mutilating the translation so that Uranus and Neptune are cousins instead of possibly lovers, essentially the show was making a pretty solid ground, and there was hope that there was going to be more. Although, due to the censorship, I'm not sure they would ever have gotten to Sailor Stars. Regardless, this card game, in both its formats, there was a Set 1 and a Set 2, and Set 2 came out pretty quickly after Set 1. And both came out when Sailor Moon was still doing pretty well. There was also a Sailor Moon role-playing game which was based on the Tri-Stat system, which is 3 stats, mind, body, and soul. The card game is also based on these 3 colors. And that kind of, I don't know, I guess that could be an issue really because it limits the deck building. It makes the deck building really simple. I mean, ridiculously simple. Especially in Set 2 when they introduced special cards that would be either half body, half mind, half soul, half mind, or whatever. So, and even one that had all 3. Now, you were only allowed 4 of those per deck, but it made the deck building ridiculously simple. This game was aimed at the younger, perhaps girl crowd, but had really solid mechanics, had really solid deck building possibilities. Unfortunately, I think that they made a few mistakes. I want to say a lot of mistakes. And one of the primary mistakes, I feel, was they included a basic game in the rulebook and on the cards. So at the bottom of the cards will say basic game, do whatever. And the basic game was pointless, boring, and long. And really had, it's just like, let's just skip this. Let's go straight to the advanced game. Now, I don't know how long it took the designers of the mechanics to come up with the basic version of the game, but I really feel like whatever time they applied, even if it was like 5 minutes where they sat down and did it after everything else, they really should have said, you know what, let's spend that time and play test the bleep out of this card game. A lot of the issues with this card game for the serious trading card game player come in the speed. The speed of this game is insane. Unlike Magic or Pokemon where you're allowed 1 energy a turn, or in special cases 2 or 3, although Magic you can get rolling really fast, and even in Pokemon you can get rolling really fast. But doing that requires a special setup. In Sailor Moon, you're allowed to just throw down everything. The other problem with this game came in the holofoils. The holofoils were beautiful. And I mean just beautiful. You did not want to hurt these things. Now, I'm saying that as a fan because really these holofoils are just images from the show but with holographic background. But they were beautiful. And they were also really, really, really rare. I mean ridiculously rare. I know that I personally bought, like 4 boxes, maybe 5 before I got them all. So yeah, ridiculously rare. The second set was about the same for rarity. I think I only got maybe like 3 boxes before I completed it because it was a smaller set. Maybe 4, I don't know, a lot. Bottom line was the rulebook said you didn't include that holofoil in your deck because they assumed that you weren't going to have a card sleeve. They also didn't want you to hurt your nice, pretty card. So you could proxy it. Oh, what a nightmare. I mean, now imagine if you were a tournament organizer and you were like, okay, I want to organize a Sailor Moon tournament, and anybody can use any card for any proxy they want, and they'll have this list of what those are, and then they have to reveal that they really do own that card for real. Just nightmare. What they should have done is have a rare version, because they had rare cards. So they should have had a rare or a ultra rare version of the holofoil, and then they should have had the holofoil version, or just have it be a rare card that would be the exact duplicate of the holofoil version, which the holofoils would then become ultra rare and just for collecting purposes only, and have their own, keep them in numbers, but just have them be foil for collecting purposes. Anyway, so my point is, those of us that were actually playing this game and actually had these foils, we were using sleeves, so we were using the foil versions anyways. Sailor Pluto, the most broken card in game history. This card makes me think that they really didn't play this game, like, at all, or very little. Although the effort is clear. Don't get me wrong. The effort is there. I can see that they must have play tested this game maybe once. But I don't think that they ever thought about Sailor Pluto. I really don't. I think that they were like, Sailor Pluto, she stops time. Okay, let's throw that in. So, they had a Sailor Moon card game website. And man, I wish I could remember the guy that was in charge of it. But they actually had FAQ and an errata. And Sailor Pluto was like the first card errata. They're like, you can have one of this in your deck, and it's removed from the game after use. Because it was just, you had a card that allowed you to retrieve it from your discard pile. So, I mean, like, you'd be like, oh, it's my turn again. Oh, it's my turn again, because it skips the player's turn. So you would just have an infinite turn and be able to win really easily. Still, it's a broken card. They should have had, like, John Pow. If you win, then you... Oh, John Pow is rock, paper, scissors. And I'm probably saying it wrong. I think it's John Pow. But whatever. And if you win, then you proceed on. And if you lose, you don't get the benefit. And they had a card later on that made tie as a win, so basically reduced it to a coin flip. The other thing is, I really think a lot of these cards could have used some drastic changes. A lot of them were just completely unfair. And a lot of this game is based on the monsters and not the scouts, not the heroes. It's mostly like the monsters are essentially what your deck is built around. So much so that I've built a deck that to this day is undefeated, broken, just messed up in the head deck. But that was using set 2. Using just set 1, you could still make some really messed up decks, but not as messed up as you could when set 2 came out. And I really, again, think with set 2, they really didn't think they didn't plan or test a lot. I really don't know. This thing died out too soon, and that's unfortunate. But the good news is I have finally found a way to play it online. If you want to play this game, I only have set 1. I don't know how to get set 2 in there. Somebody would have to program it in, and that's beyond my ability. But if you want to play this game, I will teach you how to play it, and we can play it. It's a fun game. It's a fast game. There's additional rules that I made up to make the game less broken and more fair, and even additional rules that I've considered to slow it down a bit. But if you want to leave a comment saying, yeah, I want to play, I'll have to PM you where to get the program to play it online and whatever, because that's something I don't want, publicized. And that's really all I have to say. This was a fun game. I have more to say about this game than I even do. With Pokemon, I could talk about decks I've made with that. Same thing with this. I could talk about this game for a long time. This and Pokemon, two of my favorite trading card games. I really wish that this had stayed around. Maybe if Sailor Moon makes a comeback and is not all screwed up by Deke, it could happen. Mercury Pond!